Black is closing the wealth gap. Please welcome the CEO of One United Bank, Kevin Cohey. Hi, Kevin.
What's up?
The owner of JB Bryan Financial Group, JB Bryan, of course. Hi, JB.
To be here. Thank you.
Senior Financial Advisor, Marie Deary. Hi, Ms. Deary.
Hi.
And the founder of the Black Business School, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. Let's get right down to the business of the money, honey. Why should Black people care about the wealth gap in America?
It exists. It's something that we have to deal with, as a reality. There was a study done called The Road to Zero Wealth, and it really opened up a lot of eyes. I think that, not the average person probably didn't read it, but I tried to bring it to the attention of as many people as possible. And it says that within the next 40 years, there will be the wealth for Black and people of color will be non-existent. So the gap now exists, but they're projecting that it's going to get even lower. And this study was done pre-COVID. So I feel that a big part of the solution is that every day we have to be about our financial business. Every day we have to be empowering ourselves, disciplining our entire family, and increasing the consciousness of generational wealth and the importance of it.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dr. Watkins.
Yeah, I think that wealth is it's kind of that it's an easy equation to solve. It's just it reminds me of when I used to be fat. I used to have a big problem with weight. I in college you have the freshman 15. Well, I had the freshman 15 every year after after the age of 30. And what I realized was that when I was trying to lose weight, is that the solution was not complex. I just need to stop eating Twizzlers and start going to the gym. The hard work was doing it. I was really incarcerated by my bad habits. I didn't want to change. I didn't want to grow. I didn't want to evolve. And it wasn't until I had to really surrender, to a new type of thinking that I was able to actually make that transformation. So I think that when you talk about the wealth, the easy thing about it is that when you look at all the problems Black people have, social problems, educational problems, political issues, a lot of those problems are solved if you fix the wealth issue. If we really center ourselves on the one thing, and we really make that right, a lot of other problems will go away. So I really think this is the generation to do that.
Marie, why should Black people care about the wealth gap?
Well, I really agree, because in order for us to change our condition when it comes to finances, we have to develop what I call the smart money mindset. And we have to be disciplined enough to understand, like in basketball and football, there are rules. And we have to know the rules in order to play the game. So for a mighty long time, they did not want us to play the game. If you look back in 1863, and like I always said, when they were building houses and giving houses away in the 40s, we were never given that opportunity. So we never had the opportunity to create, build, or distribute wealth to our families. So now what we need to do is to develop those smart money mindset, which will enable us to do the things that we need to do to get ahead, knowing that we're starting from way back.
Kevin, why should Black people care about the wealth gap in America?
Well, because it's the root of all of our social, political, and economic problems. They all tie to this issue of wealth. As we all know, many of your social ills, everything from teenage pregnancy rate to unemployment rate, are tied to wealth. Now, let me try to put this in perspective for you. When we talk about this gap, what we're talking about is the average Black family has a net worth of, let's call it $17,500. The average white family has a net worth of about $177,000. That difference in family net worth we refer to as the racial wealth gap. When we look at it, when I think about it, I say, that's really not a lot of money, really. But what makes it so significant right now is the difference between having nothing and having something. Now, however, when you analyze the problem, it's not that difficult a problem to solve. But at One United Bank, we developed this program which we call One Transaction. And what we mean by that is Black people are only one single transaction away from eliminating the wealth gap. In the cities, the reason I asked you where you were is because in any city you're in, if a family has simply bought a house, you would have eliminated that wealth gap. There's a series of simple transactions that if you understand them, if you have the knowledge of how to execute the transaction, and that's what we're focused on at the bank. We're focused on, number one, getting people to understand that this is only about one transaction. And
okay, Kevin, you have to make that clear for us. Okay, I understand.
Kevin, I don't understand that either. Kevin, how can purchasing a house, which is going to immediately put them in debt, get rid of the wealth gap, when actually, when you look at it statistically, since 2007, 2009, and 2010, and Black families still haven't recovered from a loss due to foreclosures. It was a real estate dip. When we had the Great Depression, it slammed down on our community, mostly because we focus on real estate. So right there, what you said is a movement away from what will really close the wealth gap. I believe that the gap exists because we're not entrepreneurs. And if more banks like yours would actually focus on doing business loans so that we could have our own businesses, then we would have an opportunity that we deserve to build wealth over generations and give career opportunities. But going into debt and purchasing a house that generally many people, most that purchase now can't afford, it's a government plan. There's research that shows that a lot of the wealth problem is because the government has used the Black community to buy homes with these government loans and foreclose because of the premiums that they're paying on those loans because of the high foreclosure rate.
Okay,
So, Kevin, entrepreneurship is a much better.
Let me break this down for you because there's several concepts that are critically important that it's mistakes. Okay. There's a couple of
How are you going to purchase a home?
Usually you want to buy a house or multifamily property so you can build equity. What I was
but that could take 100 years in a Black community.
That's number one. Two, you really misunderstand debt, and that's a major problem in Black communities.
No, it's not. I understand.
If you don't understand debt and you don't understand how to utilize debt to build wealth, you will never have anything.
You're right, but you can use debt to purchase an asset like a business.
Understand how debt works. Two, you got to understand how equity is
you
built.
need to understand how business
is the foundation of the challenges that we face in our community. It's an issue really of not access to resources. It's an issue of financial literacy and us understanding as a people what we need to do to build wealth.
I understand.
This is not a difficult problem. Okay.
I understand. Kevin, you have to admit that you are biased.
Hold that thought, JB. Kevin, I do want to ask you a question. Let's yield for a moment. Let's yield. Kevin, I do want to ask you, you talked about Black people being one transaction away from the wealth gap. And the thing that you mentioned was home ownership. What other transactions keep us away from the wealth gap outside of purchasing a home?
Wills, life insurance, investments, stocks, bonds, understanding when and how to buy them. Not just real estate not just a home, but also multifamily real estate.
So, Dr. Watkins, do you agree with that? Do you agree with those things keeping us one transaction away from that wealth gap?
Well, yeah. But here's the thing. Here's what's funny to me. I'm laughing because y'all are really on the same side. I mean, what you're really saying is that is that debt is powerful. debt is not a good thing. Debt is not a bad thing. Debt is powerful. It's like drugs. Are drugs good or are drugs bad? Well, it depends. Are you using it to heal yourself or are you using it to become a drug addict? Too much debt is bad. Student loans, for example, we've OD'd on student loan debt because you don't make enough revenue. A lot of college graduates don't make enough revenue from their job to repay the debt. So that's why a lot of our Black college graduates are going to die in debt. But that does not mean that student loan debt is always a bad thing, because sometimes it works out, right? It's all about how you balance the seesaw. So when I see debt, I don't see debt as a bad thing. Most major corporations in America were founded on debt. Billionaires were created from debt. Debt is a form of leverage that can propel you financially to the moon. But because it's so powerful, you just have to be careful. So to your point, Ms. Bryan, I agree with you. I think that we know that bad loans are bad. We know that paying too much interest can be a bad thing. Borrowing more than you can afford to repay is very bad. But I can say this as a person who's taken on debt to start businesses. I've taken on debt to buy a home. All of these things, I've even taken on debt to buy more stock. All of these things added to my net worth. None of them took away from my net worth. But believe me, it was a matter of understanding the significance and the importance of debt that made all the difference. So I don't even think this has to be a debate. I think it's a matter of really pointing out when debt can work for you and when it doesn't work for you.
Well, what's going to work for me right now is taking a quick break, and we're going to come back on the Tammy Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. So don't go anywhere, because this conversation is good. I feel like I can already close the wealth gap just by listening. We'll be right back on the Tammy Mac Late Show.
And we're clear for 2 minutes.
I would like to elaborate on it.
Tammy, did you see the video first that I sent you?
I'm not. Let me see. I didn't get a video. I didn't get a video. I don't think. Oh, right there.
Yeah, I sent you.
I
Just
see.
a reminder to look up at the camera when you're speaking. I just want to make sure it translates very well.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would love to elaborate on just that if we do. If not, we can go on to something else.
No, you can elaborate. Alicia.
Yeah, I'm here.
I think that's perfect for where we are at this moment.
Okay, so when we come back, are you going to ask a question?
I'm gonna let JB. I'm gonna let JB make her point, and then I'm gonna go to that video.
Okay, Kevin, you heard that?
I heard that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're about 45 seconds back.
I mean, I would also like to elaborate on that.
Okay. Alicia, are you hearing Marie's audio, or is that something that
Got
I'm
20 seconds.
only hearing? Kevin?
I can hear, but the connection isn't strong.
Yeah.
Marie, you keep
Yeah,
breaking
it comes
up.
and goes.
Yeah.
We're back in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back.
Welcome back to the Tammy Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Tonight we are talking about the wealth gap. African Americans 8 times. White people are worth 8 times more financially than Black people. How do we shrink that? How do we get on equal footing? If you want more of this content, you can log on to foxsoul.tv, or you can go to our Fox Soul app. Just download that bad boy. You can go to Fox Now, Fire TV, Roku, Tubi, Zumo. You can go to Apple TV, caffeine.tv. And we would love for you to chat with us, because we chat right back. We are live in this very moment. So please chat with us on YouTube right now. JB, you were talking about this wealth gap. Go ahead and make your point.
Well, my point is that Kevin was sharing that one transaction away would get rid of the wealth gap.
And he mentioned several of those transactions
and other things afterwards. But the one thing that he's really promoting is home ownership. And when we look at the last 50 years and plus since the March on Washington, home ownership for Black people is about the same. Home ownership is great, but you have to be in it for the long term. And it's basically residential home ownership is a savings tool that over the long term, maybe it will work out for you. But unfortunately, our Black communities get hit the hardest when we get to times like we're in now.
So JP, are you suggesting that home ownership doesn't create wealth?
What I'm begging for is for our leading Black bank to consider doing business loans. Because over that same 50 years, businesses have grown. So imagine if our businesses, or businesses like mine, I started my business 25 years ago with only my own savings and investing. There was no bank that was interested. I challenge us and I challenge our Black banks to consider saying that our wealth gap is because of lack of business ownership.
Kevin, I want to give you a chance to respond to that. I will say that Yelp has seen a 60% surge on Black businesses. People are looking to support and buy from Black businesses. So does One United support Black businesses financially by creating and giving them loans?
First off, we understand Black businesses and what the opportunities are and what the opportunities aren't. And so when you're thinking about businesses, first off, what I do agree with is we have an opportunity that comes out of now about 50% of our businesses disappearing as a result of COVID.
Yes.
So we lost half of our businesses. And the way those businesses are structured, i.e. not being structured so that your goods and services are sold through the internet, which is the real opportunity. Capitalism has undergone a reset. It's both an opportunity and a challenge because a lot of us are still thinking about business as it existed before COVID.
Brick and mortar.
Yeah, brick and mortar. That's over. We have to recreate our entire business model so that we're participating not just in local economies, but regional and national economies. So in the rebuild of our businesses, it's all about technology and how to sell products using technology. That's the unique opportunity set that we have in front of us. But it's not the key. Businesses are a very small part of an economy. If you look at the number of people who own businesses versus the number of people who own real estate, one is 3% of the other. And just the number of businesses period, white or Black, are so small in comparison to the amount of real estate holdings that it's not viable to say that you're going to rebuild your wealth solely through businesses because most people work for businesses. They don't own businesses. They aren't in an equity position.
And I think what JB is getting at is that more people should own businesses, and those businesses should be supported by Black banks.
Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. Running a business they don't have to.
We don't have anywhere else to work right now. We have to start our own businesses. I have created a business network that is free, and every week we talk about business strategy. It is important.
If you look at businesses
it's
right
vital.
now, I will tell you, if you look
how do we recover from COVID?
Name a successful Black business outside of One United.
I am a successful Black business. I started my firm in 1995, and I have fed and housed over my career. That's all we need is for every Black person who wants to start a business to get the opportunity and not have to struggle as hard as I did and get some capital from a Black bank and then any bank, but also ours.
Marie, you wanted to weigh in? Go ahead, Marie.
Understand the difference between the small impact of small businesses, the higher rate of failure in small businesses, and the need to reinvent yourself.
Afroeconomics is here. I can support you.
Well, let's yield. We're going to take a yield. We're going to take a yield here, JB. We're going to take a yield and yield to Marie.
Great.
I work with small businesses every day, And for us to change, we have to change our mindset. We have to understand the rules of a business, understand the structure of a business. Most of the businesses, small businesses that I work with, don't know the business structure. They don't know the importance of taxes. They don't know the importance of interest rate. So you go to buy a house and you charge 15% interest, while somebody may be charged 3% or 8% interest. So if we cannot, and if we don't change our mindset and develop and be a student of understanding business, we'll forever be
Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about the mindset of Black people when it comes to money and the wealth gap and debt. I just ran across this video. Comedian Lil Duval, who's also become somewhat of a musician, if you will. He's had a #1 hit on the Billboard charts, believe it or not. And it was interesting what he said in terms of how he feels about credit. And since in the last segment, Dr. Watkins, we talked about debt, good debt versus bad debt. I want you to take a listen to what Lil Duval has said about credit.
I don't know why people care about credit so much.
What do you mean? Oh, well, you don't care about real estate. So.
No, even with real estate. To me, with real estate, if you can't buy it, don't get it. That's in anything. Like, I don't understand, like, why do we feel like we have to get loans on something? Or just save up and get it.
Woo! Save up and get it.
That is so.
But look,
that's the opposite of being correct.
Is that something that is
wrong? That's like
long-term wealth development.
I will submit to you, anybody who says that to you has no understanding of business. They have no understanding of capital. They definitely should be buying your own business.
Let's
working for somebody and having somebody else make this.
Let's just. I mean, I think first of all, I think first off though, no, hold on. I think first off we gotta really ask ourselves why are we a community that thinks we need to take financial advice from comedians and entertainers, right? If I need advice on how to structure a good joke, then I'll call a comedian. Right. So let's right, but let's keep it 100 on that, right? It doesn't mean his opinion's invalid, but what he's stating is what they call a risk preference. It's like if you talk about COVID, how should you respond to COVID? You ask 10 people. Some people say you should never leave the house no matter what. Somebody else might say, well, you got to go out and you got to go to work to take care of the kids. Somebody else might say, I want to go on vacation. I'm not worried about it. I have a healthy immune system, right? Different people have different levels of tolerance for risk. So a person who says, if I can't buy it with cash, I don't want it. That's just a person who has a low tolerance for the leverage that comes with debt. That's okay, but that's not the right answer for everybody. It's not a one level of discipline. Right. That's true. That's true.
I have to say this. Back in the day, that's really how our parents and grandparents and great grandparents. That is how they lived. They would say, if I can't buy it with the cash in my pocket, then I should not have it.
Right, and let me tell you what. But that would not work.
I actually got that from my great grandfather, who said that if you can't afford it, don't buy it, and if you can't buy it with cash, don't buy it at all. And so now I do have a rather healthy habit of saving to buy what I want.
And I think that's important. I think that's important. But remember, hold on, wait a minute, wait. But that's not always true. My grandma, who taught me about wealth, she was the same way, but she grew up during the Great Depression, so she had a very conservative mindset. When it came time for me to go to college, I could not pay for that with cash. Now, I could have sat there and worked at Arby's for 10 years to save up the money and started college when I was 30. But instead, I took a loan, flipped that loan into a lot more benefit long term. And it's a matter of using debt carefully. It doesn't mean that debt's for everybody, But it does mean that there are times where debt can do wonderful things. Jeff Bezos couldn't have built Amazon and been worth $270 billion if it wasn't for debt. Elon Musk, Elon Musk. Elon Musk made but seriously though, like if you don't talk about it, Elon Musk made $100 billion this year because of debt. So debt is not criminal. Debt is not bad. Like there's no one size fits all approach to any of this. That's the thing. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that you're not right all the time. And I think we have to accept that.
We're going to take a quick break. You, Marie, JB, hold on to your thoughts. Listen, this is what I got to say about debt, and particularly college debt. All I want for Christmas is my $27,892 loan paid off. That's all I want for Christmas. Can you help me, Kevin? Can you help me over there?
I love it, that degree got you. That degree got you where you are right now.
We'll be right back.
The reason you're talking to us right now is because of what that debt is.
And we're clear.
That college degree. It's because of that college degree.
Which you got from the debt. They could have been working at Arby's.
But that's good debt.
Not in graduation.
Get a college degree, but not necessarily. But
you got to get you guys because it's like
to cover that debt. But that's good debt.
We're at the beginning. That's the important thing. We're at the beginning. We need to go on a journey together.
Well, obviously,
starting with understanding.
It doesn't even make any sense to me. Because we're talking about why are Black people broke, and basically what you're saying, Kevin and Boyce, is that they should keep doing what they're doing.
No, I'm not. Come on now. Don't. If you're gonna misinterpret my words, at least allow me to explain why you're misinterpreting them. I just say like that. You're arguing
wrong about Jeff Bezos. He had zero debt when he started.
No, Jeff Bezos does have debt. Go check the balance sheet of Amazon right now, and I bet you're gonna find debt on the books.
1 minute until we're back.
And also they have equity holders. Like so I'm not telling you that debt is all, so don't tell me debt is always bad. I know from that's ridiculous. Why are you saying these crazy things? You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Stop this. Stop arguing with everybody and just make your point and let other people talk. Seriously.
You all have our chat line going crazy right now.
Tell me, I love this show, but I'm serious. Like I ain't in here to fight with people. Just disagree, make your point, and move forward. Seriously. Why must we be combative over this issue?
20.
Wow. Okay, this is
15.
Here we go.
Back in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back.
Welcome back to the Tammy McLeod Show on Fox Soul. Our soulmates are chiming in here, so let's see what they have to say. From Black Beauty Trending, credit should be used to leverage. You understand that?
That's a business term. That's business.
And another soulmate here, GH says you could loan yourself money from a private family bank.
There you go.
Generational wealth. Kevin, you're at One United. What does that mean? I don't even understand that. You could loan yourself money from a private family bank. What is that?
Well, it's a continuation of the conversation that we're having, and at the root of the problem is financial literacy and how we convey information. Here again, we have people talking about everything from that doesn't work to I want to do the same thing that my great-grandfather or great-grandmother did. Those are belief systems that aren't rooted in economic reality. And more so than anything else, that's where this wealth gap comes from. Is we at this point, we're still as a people working on having a rudimentary understanding of how money works, understanding the trade-offs between risk and a reward, and how to build equity in our society. And even with benefit, I thought it was telling the story you talked about when you talked about your student loan. And just in talking to you, I'm sure you got so much benefit out of that education and will continue to get that benefit, but you somehow detach that from the fact that without the loan, you wouldn't have been able to get it because you wouldn't have been able to pay for school. And so that's the wonder of debt. That's the wonder of leverage. There's no major company that's ever been built, period, that would have been built without debt. Certainly no modern age company. So can
I elaborate on that?
JB, yes, I'll give a chance, but we got to let one person finish their thought before we break in. So
okay.
go ahead, Kevin.
Okay. All right. Number one, okay. Without debt, you're not going to have enough money to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that a capitalistic system offers you. You can't function effectively in a capitalistic system without debt in mass. Does that doesn't mean that there are some individuals who save up enough money to do whatever they want to do with the money they save up, but that's not a model of success. That's an exception. It's this understanding this. What we spend as Black people, our biggest challenge is we sit around imagining obstacles being in our way that don't even exist.
Interesting.
Please,
I understand why with that. Okay, the reason we don't have the money is real. We were slaves. They freed us. They didn't give us no money. They didn't give us no property. They didn't give us no education. But in addition to that, they had laws and were prohibiting us.
They did not give us a 40 years.
So the reason we don't have wealth is real. But what's stopping us from growing that wealth is the lack of a basic understanding of how money works. And
well,
that's
it's interesting because it's interesting because Marie talked about. Hold on. Marie actually talked about the mindset, Kevin, and I do believe that's kind of where you're going, is how we still have the mindset of my great-grandfather. We still have the mindset that just because I'm in nearly $30,000 debt for my school loan, that it wasn't a good investment because now I have this debt. So with that mindset, it's kind of preventing us from moving forward and taking those risks that we need to take debt-wise. And Marie talked about that mindset. So go ahead, Marie, and go ahead.
In order for us to move forward, we have to continue to educate ourselves, investing in ourselves. When we speak about debt, the average person will think, well, maybe I can charge my credit card up and it's okay. When Jeff Bezos and whoever started their business, they had access to credit, not access to debt. They had access to credit, whether they had a CFO with very good credit that could have signed on the dotted line, or they themselves had good credit. So we have to be able to understand the value of our credit. We have to understand the value of the debt. If you owe the IRS, you owe the franchise tax board, that is debt. And you cannot go to one side and say, I give you a loan. Oh, by the way, I have X amount of money that I owe the IRS. I have X amount of money that I owe the FTB. That is that many people cannot get from under. So changing our mindset will say, okay, what is the importance of my credit score?
Dr. Watkins, thank you, Marie. Dr. Watkins, there is a quote on the Black American Money website that reads, "Building up wealth is the ultimate form of community activism." Mm-hmm. Break that down.
Yeah, because money is power. You live in a capitalist society, and you live in a capitalist democracy, but democracy is like the little brother. Capitalism is the big brother. That's why you can't get anything done in our government without having wealth and assets, because the wealthy people control what your politicians do. So if you go study things like the Powernomics philosophy with Dr. Claude Anderson, things like that, I agree with his approach in the sense that if we solve that wealth problem, we can then solve the political problem, the educational problem, the problem with the police, the media problem, all the other problems. And so ultimately, if you really think about it, you think about the day-to-day life of a Black person in America, and why do you feel oppressed? Why do you feel depressed? Why do you feel suppressed? Why do you feel like you don't have a voice? Well, a lot of it's because every day you got to get up and go to work with people that hate you. And so the ability to liberate yourself from that is not just the key to your freedom, but it's the key to your mental health. Racism will drive you insane. And I know in my experience as a Black man, who's had many jobs, terrible jobs. I grew up in poverty, all these other things. I remember, even when I got to the point where I got a PhD and I was supposed to be a successful man, I did not feel successful. I still felt like a slave. I was making a lot of money, but I was just a high-paid slave at that point. And that's when I began to dig deeper into things like what Ms. Bryan was mentioning, entrepreneurship. I'm a big believer in that. And so my conclusion on that, though, is that, I don't believe every person wants to be an entrepreneur, but everyone should own a piece of a business, right? You can own a piece of a business by investing in an entrepreneur. You can go and buy shares of stock in companies that are out making money. There are a million different ways to make that money. And I will also say this, when we talk about this debt piece, I'll tell you, Amazon.com right now has $25.3 billion worth of debt. And they're not a stupid company. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we're wrong or right about any of this. I'll just say, though, that the access to credit, like Marie mentioned earlier, which to me is very connected to the access to debt, that's extremely important. But it's the responsible use of debt that helps you to become successful. You don't want to be sloppy with it.
So, JB, how do you feel about stocks as a way of bridging that wealth gap? Stocks.
I'm an investment advisor. I trade stocks every day. That's what my firm does. JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm. I help thousands of family over.
And how does that help to decrease the wealth gap?
It's tremendous because you are buying parts of ownership of businesses. And also at the same time, it's very important to me as a part of Afroeconomics to make sure that people are investing correctly at work. Because if we have investments, we're much more likely to have it through our 401k plan. And a lot of times we don't know how to allocate it, how it should be invested. So definitely, I believe in it. I encourage it. I support it. That's what I do every day. And it allows us to outpace. If you look at historical performance, the stock market has outpaced residential real estate big time. And if you look at a person who did go into debt for a home purchase, if they could have saved the money, minimized their living expenses, and invested the difference between the property taxes and the interest and all of the extra and put that into their work plan and got the match, they would have way outperformed the person who bought an overpriced, over-financed home purchase. And I believe that we can use debt, but we should be purchasing our homes with like 10 and 20% down like your grandmother did. And I believe that historically we had much better. I think that it's disrespectful to our ancestors to say that they didn't have it right, because they had it right. And they would not, the banks wouldn't even allow them to go into debt unless they had at least that 20% down. And
you know what? As a matter of fact, I want to talk about our ancestors and how right or wrong they had it when we come back. We want to take a quick break because I do want to revisit the past a little bit. It always sheds light on what's going on today. And we're talking about is having our own enough. And right. So I want to talk about how we at one time had our own. And somewhere down the line that disappeared. So right. Hopefully our panelists can shed some light on that when we return on the Tammy McLeod Show on Fox Soul. We'll be right back.
Clear for 2 minutes.
Thank you, JB and Marie. I will give everyone an equal chance, but I have to let people finish their thoughts. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I thought that last segment went much better. I enjoyed that.
Hi, I'm sorry. Pardon me, everybody. JD, where's the camera on your device? Oh, yeah, that's what I need you to look. Yep. So you're looking down the whole time, and even though we're in the Zoom, the live feed that all of our viewers, it just has
a bad habit. And I'm looking over here, and if it was but it's right above the camera one, and it's outside, so it probably makes it higher.
Got you. Yeah. So if you could stay right where you are right now, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
And every time I do, I look right down in Tammy's face.
I know. And then you're looking down and nodding. You got the head.
I'm looking at her, I'm talking to her.
I thought you were reading some paperwork.
No, I thought she had some Earth, Wind & Fire on. I was like, what is happening here? So
right. And you told me, like, don't look down. Look out.
1 minute. 1 minute till we're back.
We said it nicely, so thank you very much. And this has been a very spirited conversation.
I wouldn't think there would be anything to disagree about when it comes. So I was quite shocked at it all.
You would be amazed at the research on college loans not really benefiting people.
15 seconds.
Extreme. Like, there's no difference.
Here we go, guys.
Here we go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back.
Welcome back to the Tammy McLeod Show on Fox Soul. We're talking about the wealth gap with the African American community. I always find it interesting how there was actually one time, and I ask this question all the time, like it is a burning desire for me to gain knowledge about this. There was a time in our history where we had our own homes. We built our own homes. We bartered with one another. We even built our own communities, Rosewood, Black Wall Street. And then all of a sudden that disappeared. I think I got an answer before vaguely when a panelist told me that segregation, or rather integration, put an end to that. And I did a little research and thought perhaps that is true. But Kevin, because you do have ownership in an entire bank, which I hear people on my show and on other shows alike who are often into Black people should have their own. But no one ever really specifically says what that means. What the hell does that mean? Is that a realistic goal for Black people to have their own? Can we still create a Black Wall Street, a Rosewood? Can that still happen?
Well, okay. The answer is it can happen in a very different and important age. All right, the thing that we're going through now, what makes this such a unique time and a unique opportunity is for the first time, Black Americans have really been organized in scale and mechanized as a result of the internet. The internet has brought us together in a way that we've never been organized before and given us a voice and power that we never had before. And in that way, we have come together, and that's what's causing the change you're seeing in society today. So when you see the protest movement, for instance, you got to know that some Black man getting killed by some vigilantes in South Georgia has been going on since 1619 when we got here.
Absolutely.
Or a Black man getting killed in an urban street corner like Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's been happening for hundreds of years. There's nothing new about that. What is new is even though Martin, Malcolm, back to W.E.B. Du Bois and the whole crew, they all knew the importance of being organized, but they didn't have the vehicle for organizing in scale and enacting change. So we have a unique opportunity as Black people, coupled with our allies, to create social and economic and political change in our
When you say couple with our allies, do you mean white people?
Yeah, white people who support what we're doing. When you look at the protest movement, you see it's not just about Black people. Remember, our issue, what we're doing is we're promoting the development of our democracy. Black people have always traditionally played the role of improvers of the democracy. We really believe in things like all men and women are created equal. with liberty and justice for all. It's us and our trials and tribulations that made America's democracy a real thing. The thing that these white people came up with, the so-called founding fathers, that wasn't a democracy that was sustainable. That was all about rich white property owners. What makes America America, what gives America its strength is one, us, but it's the diversity of who we are. So we are coming together. We are organizing in a more important and significant way than when we had small segregated communities and we had a few.
So then you don't believe that our community should be segregated again. We should have our own in that instance in a Black Wall Street
power. We should have our own, and that's what we have. See, what's happening now is we have to understand that we have power like that never existed before in the history of this country, because the internet allows us. You're experiencing it right now. This is the internet organizing us as a people, which gives. That's why the police departments, which have been in need of reform for hundreds of years, are finally getting reformed. Is because of the power that we have as a people. We've never had this. And this power translates into many different things. One, it does definitely translate into understanding the business opportunities you have. There's never been a better time to get rich than now. Never been easier than now to actually make some real money.
I'm sure JB would agree with that.
It's always a challenge for a Black person in America to actually make any kind of money easy.
Do you believe that we can have our own now? Is that plausible today, having our own?
Only if we're willing to grind, because
the way you're defining your own, you have to redefine your own. We have to understand the world we live in and how technology has affected the world we're in and created. We have more of our own now than we ever had. We're organized at a level, we have the power to execute. We're
okay. I totally understand.
I'm going to share about this. This is a great opportunity, I feel, for bankers to consider getting into commercial loans specifically.
But JB, I want to talk about. I understand you apparently have a problem with One United Bank. I love One United Bank. I love One United Bank. Air those grievances out.
Oh no! But I'm going to make sure that is shared.
I think it is understood. I think we understood it at 9:05.
And even if it was XYZ or somebody.
But my question is, can we as Black people have our own Black Wall Street again? Does that work in today's system?
And the reason I was bringing up the banking part is because we do need to have capitalization. That would help. I mean, everybody is saying that we
understand that, but is it possible? My question is Black Wall Street, is our own neighborhoods where we own banks, where we own restaurants, where we own grocery stores, where we don't have to buy from anyone but Black people, is that viable today? Is my question.
That's what I'm saying to you. That's what you got. You got to understand your community down is not the person who lives down the street from you. It's the
I understand your answer, Kevin. I'm trying to get an answer from JB now.
I don't think that is necessary because of the technology and the level that we are now. I believe that we can have a massive Black commerce network, but it has to go beyond just being on the streets.
Okay, understood. I want to give Marie answer that same question. Marie?
I don't believe that in this day and age, it's necessary. I think we should continue to harness the power and learn to reshape the things that we are doing, but I don't think it's necessary now.
So you're on the same page with Kevin. That's understandable. Dr. Watkins, what's your thought about that? Are we capable of doing a Black Wall Street? Is that viable in this day and age, 2021 almost?
Anything's possible because we can do anything. We just have to put our mind to it. And right now, to Kevin's point, there are digital Black Wall Streets being developed. If a person wanted to go through this whole holiday season and only buy Black, that's possible. You've got massive networks like We Buy Black, things like that where you can buy everything you want from Black people. So that's doable. Now, the next step, though, is culture. Economics and wealth is culture. There are a lot of communities where entrepreneurship is very cultural. You don't even think about going to get a job. Ownership of assets is very cultural. By owning homes is very cultural. They don't pay rent. Rent to them is for suckers. So ultimately, we must look at the culture, shift our culture, how we raise our children to acclimate them to asset acquisition as a true cultural norm. And what you're going to see out of that is you're going to see a lot of economic fertility where businesses will come out of that, wealth will come out of that. And like to Kevin's point earlier in the very beginning, when he said 177,000 that white people have in their net worth, that is not a difficult amount to acquire if you are a person that is determined throughout your life to acquire assets. It's not that hard to do. So yes, it's being built. It can be better, and it will be better.
So this is what we're going to do when we come back, and I want you to maybe jot some things down, because our soulmates are asking questions and they want answers. They want real answers, and I'm sure you can give them to us. And so think about this while we go to break. Tracy Cooper says, I hope this panel comes through with 1, 2, 3 steps to put in place for 2021. Anything pre-pandemic is null and void, she says. Hashtag Black Empowerment Matters. So when we come back, I'd like for you all to maybe give 2 steps to how Black people can increase their wealth and can do it tomorrow morning. And we're talking about, literal things to do. So we're going to answer that question for you, Tracy, when we get back, because we certainly got the right people on this panel to answer it. We're coming right back on the Tammy Mac Late Show on Fox Soul.
And we're clear 2 minutes.
All right.
Crazy kids.
What did you say?
You crazy.
Crazy kids.
I had to take a nap before this show.
Look, I'm trying to figure out what I can ask y'all that'll help me. Let me think. What can I ask that will increase my wealth in this 5 minutes I got left with y'all? Because surely you could tell.
One transaction.
But give me those
within your means.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's hard for folks to do right there.
Like this in your means thing, I need to take some time with you guys to help us understand what our actual means are. The way you're defining your means is too limiting in today's society.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But you have to look at what is your income. What is your income? Whether you are a W.
So we're back. 1 minute.
Nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah, and I think what she's saying, though, when she says live within your means, she's talking about those materialistic purchases that we make that don't involve increasing our net worth.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that level, I'm talking about it.
You're on a higher plane. You're on a higher plane.
Know your credit score and protect your credit score.
30 seconds till we're back. 30 seconds.
Really quickly, one of the soulmates in the chat YouTube said to invest in Bitcoin. So y'all should talk about that briefly.
It will be very brief. We only got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
15 seconds.
I don't know if brevity is this panel's thing.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're back.
JB, you are a financial advisor. Tell me real quick. I just need yes or no. Should I invest in Bitcoins?
I wouldn't suggest it.
Dr. Watkins, what's your thought on that?
Well, I invest pretty heavily in crypto, but no more than 10% of my portfolio because it's very risky, but there's a lot of upside potential. So I want to be there if it happens.
Kevin?
No.
Marie?
I will not recommend it.
Marie, what should a person have in their what should a person's financial portfolio look like?
It all depends. I like it should be a combination of stocks, bonds, real estate. These are the things that I would recommend.
Okay. JB, what should a person's portfolio look like?
Well, that's what I do. And what I have to do is I use an algorithm and I do a risk analysis. I find out their time horizon, what they're investing for, how much money they have. And then I actually develop.
Look at me on the camera, JB.
And, I'm sorry. And I develop. I'm looking at you again to say I'm sorry. And then I actually develop a portfolio that goes along with the actual risk tolerance and time horizon that is developed for the person. So it would be very unique, but it would go across asset classes, which would include equity, stocks, and bonds, some real estate possibly, and looking in having some available for cash so that we can constantly be buying some along the way. So,
all that talk you did about housing and Kevin getting loans on housing, and you want to put real estate in folks' portfolio. What the hell?
And it's actually commercial real estate, and you can do that through stock investing. And now it's out of favor. But I have to be careful because I am licensed and I'm regulated. So I have to be very careful what I say specifically in that area. But I do have to talk directly to the client. I develop portfolios for them.
Okay.
And it does have exposure.
Kevin, what does your portfolio look like?
I'm a wealthy person.
Your portfolio.
My
Your
personal
portfolio. Look, we know you're a wealthy person. Why do you think I'm asking you this question? I'm trying to get there.
Okay, well, I like multifamily real estate.
Okay.
As an investment, I have a fairly extensive stock portfolio. I have a debt portfolio. Primarily, my debt is focused on municipalities. I like municipalities, particularly high-yielding municipalities. They're performing well. On the speculative tip for fun things that are going to get big hits, like I love Fannie Mae preferred stock, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac preferred stock. If you want to be heavier in the risk, something that could do to 4 to 5 times the next 12 months, that kind of stuff, maybe do the Fannie and Freddie Common. I was thinking of Fannie Freddie preferred. I think that's a double, and it's probably a double before the end of the Trump administration. That's one of the plays to think about right now. Trump's going to be leaving office. He's going to do things that are going to cause people to make money. So that's the current thing that the players are focused on right now. Is what is Trump going to do that's going to affect the value of stocks or some particular asset class before he leaves office? So I'm heavily focused on that. My trade for that phenomenon is the Fannie Freddie preferred. I think it's a clean double, easy.
All right, Dr. Watkins, you're quite wealthy yourself, and you also make people wealthy, much like JB. So give us your portfolio.
A lot of my portfolio is a diverse spread of across the stock market and different asset classes. Some of the stay-at-home stocks did really well during COVID. I have a lot of recovery stocks in the portfolio. I like to write call options actually on some more volatile stocks, and spread the risk out a little bit. And then also I like crypto. I selected as a 10-year hold different crypto assets that have done pretty well. And I believe Bitcoin actually has a tremendous upside. I'm not a big fan of putting a ton of my money in Bitcoin because it's very risky. But it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin quadrupled in a year or two. And then also real estate, of course. That's a nice balanced diet. Got some real estate. Last but not least, I own percentages of different businesses, things like that.
So when you say percentages of businesses, these are people that you know that you invested into? Yeah,
very private transactions. Just let's make a deal kinds of things. Different revenue streams.
I think that's interesting for people to know, because a lot of times Black people are afraid to give their money to other Black people who are starting up companies or businesses or investing in it. So I just think that's a good thing to know, that sometimes that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, I invest in lots of Black people. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it turns out terrible. But there are a lot of winners. There are a lot of great. I mean, investing in Black people is one of the best investments you can make, in my opinion, because it doesn't just make you better off, but it also feels good. And it's what we're supposed to do. It's our civic duty, in my opinion. And the Chinese have a similar philosophy. If you're not investing in China, then you don't matter to them. And I think Black people should do the same thing. Put our community first. That's it.
Ooh, I've always felt that way. JB, I know you can agree with that. You started to show off with that one.
Yeah.
Invest in Black people. And I know, Kevin, you can agree with that one too, right? Invest in Black people.
Yes. I believe in investing in people who understand what they're doing. That I would not invest whether they were Black, blue, green, purple, if I didn't feel that they both had a quality concept.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, we don't mean, we don't mean just giving your money away, throwing your money away. I think we are. And I like that flag in the background. That is America at its core. At its core. Marie, thank you so much as well. I know you believe in investing in Black people too, huh?
Yes, I do that every day. Education, education, education.
Well, thank you all for educating us tonight. This, if you don't mind coming back, this conversation certainly deserves a part 2, because we barely touched the surface on the things that we could do to decrease the wealth gap in the African American community. So thank you all for being on the show tonight. I appreciate it so much, and the knowledge that you dropped on us on the Tammy Mac Late Show. Until tomorrow, it's a blessing to be in your box on Fox Soul. Bye, y'all.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We are clear. Good night, everyone. Thank
We
you so
gotta
much.
have you all back. I need this panel back.
That's great.
So say yes now. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, I'll be back for sure.
Yes, I'll be back.
Nice to meet everybody.
Hey, Kevin, I have to say this.
Terry.
I have to say this, Kevin. I went to open up some accounts at One United. There's a One United in LA on
La Tierra.
La Tierra? No, La Brea. I mean Crenshaw. Huh?
You went to Crenshaw and Obama Way.
Yes, I forgot it's Obama Way now. Yes, I went to Crenshaw and Obama Way, and your systems were down.
It's possible. I mean, it's our systems are certainly not down any more than any other bank. I can assure you of that. I could guarantee you, if you bank at Wells Fargo, not only are their systems down, but they're robbing you. So the thing I always find is so important as Black people, we have these expectations out of ourselves, and even more important, we allow others to have expectations of us. I.e., we have to be. If we're not absolutely perfect, then we can't do anything. But if you look at
I didn't say that to say I wasn't going to open up an account there. I'm just telling you what prevented me that day, literally. Like, I literally could not, because the systems were down. So but I'm not saying that I'm not going to put my money into One United. I'm certainly going to do that.
And I would say you got with One United, okay. One United Bank has more customers than all of the other Black-owned banks put together.
And I wanted to touch on that tonight, because I wanted to know how many Black-owned banks there were. How many are there?
When you say really Black-owned, okay.
Really Black-owned.
2 really Black-owned. The rest of them are Black people running banks.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Okay, well, that's mainly what you got. You got 2 banks that are actually owned by Black people.
And that's One United
and the bank in Houston. There's an African guy who owns Unity Bank in Houston.
Really? From Houston? I never heard of Unity Bank before.
It's there. It's a very wealthy Nigerian who owns the bank down there. He's doing a good job with it. Now here again, I'm not saying that to when you're asked the question, I just want to make the distinction, make sure we understand the difference between something that's owned by Black people
and
something that's managed by Black people. I mean, I would argue we managed the plantations. I mean, we did good managers for a long time. Okay.
No, you answered the question right then. That was
so. If you're in Los Angeles, first off, I have a home here, but I primarily live in Los Angeles, and but I want you to. But you can also just go to oneunited.com. I mean, the big deal about One United is it has customers on a nationwide basis.
Well, I'm going to go to oneunited.com.
Customers in literally every significant city in the country.
But I'm old school. I'd be liking to know my bankers.
Yeah, well, now see, here you are. Now let's talk about that. Okay, do you know the CEO of Wells Fargo?
I didn't say. Well, I know the CEO of United now. I bet you that. I bet y'all know the.
There you go. You see, so
I don't know the CEO of Wells Fargo, but I do know my bankers at Wells Fargo. I know them by name. I know my UPS man by name. You know, people touching my money. I want to know who you are. I agree.
And
all right, the show's over, and I know all of my producers are going, say bye, Tammy. Thank y'all. Please come back. Please come back. Please.
We will.
Thank you. We'll be back next time. Drop me a note. That my primary office is in Crenshaw and Stocker. So
I need to know when you're there, so I can just come say hi.
Have a good night, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Bye, Dr. Watkins.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So what y'all think? Let me see. I'm looking at some of your comments. Y'all know I'm still waiting on my new glasses to get here. I can see up close without my glasses. If I put them on, you become blurry. But I can't see far away without my glasses. So Tristan Holt, Black Bank. Let's see. Dr. Anderson needs to be at the next one. Yeah, Dr. Anderson. He should be doing everything, But he you get older, so. It's kind of tough. Yeah, I don't. You know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I like Tammy. I like the show, but I don't like going on a lot of shows because I think with this panel, I felt like it just wasn't like the best panel. I feel like so when she was just sitting there saying that debt was bad and debt is why Black people. I mean, I was like, what are you talking about? Like that. And I'm just not gonna get in there and get into no ragamuffin argument, over some stuff that I understand, right? But it was just very. I was like, how could you say that? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is wrong. Like, stop that. And I agree. All that yelling and screaming and fighting. I mean, she came in like for blood. And I don't know. How do I feel about One United Bank? He seems like a nice enough guy. I'm not so much into the whole conversation about allies. Maybe I'm a pessimist, but I don't think allies are going to do anything for Black people. I think that we got to do it ourselves. I think we have everything we need to at least get things going. I don't think that we necessarily have to wait for anybody. But it would be nice, like if they paid reparations or if they made capital available to Black businesses and to Black people so we could buy houses. Because wealth is easy, actually, if you have access to capital and you're not stupid. Wealth basically comes from the ability. Think of wealth like a roller coaster. All you got to do is get on the roller coaster and get a seat on the roller coaster, and it'll take you up. So you got 3 roller coasters: stocks and bonds. The wealth is being created there. Real estate, the value of your house rises. You get paid just because the value of your house went up. You didn't do anything. Or owning a business, because the business owners tend to make the most money. So if you understand basic economic literacy and then get access to capital, that means that when you see a good opportunity, you have the economic weapons you need to pursue that opportunity. So access to capital, really white people have it easy. Honestly, if we wanted to solve the racial wealth gap, which we can have another conversation about that later. And let's say I was sitting down talking to Biden. He's like, okay, what can I do for you? I would say, you know what? For right now, you don't have to pay reparations per se. Just give Black people access to $5 trillion or $3 trillion in debt. Just give them $3 trillion in interest-free or very low interest debt so that they can actually go build their businesses. And then what I would do is I would take some of that money. I would hire thousands of financial experts around the country to train Black people, millions of Black people, on what to do with their access to capital. So if you can go to the bank, sign a piece of paper, and get access to $1 million tomorrow, well, a lot of you would know exactly what to do with that money. You know exactly how to flip it. You go buy some stocks. You'd make money in the stock market. You go buy a home, which means you stop paying rent. And then you put money into your business that will let you go hire other people and things like that. So literally, your wealth would just rise like that just from having access to capital. Then you pay the loan back, but you keep the equity. So that's, it's not a complex issue, but I can't say all that on somebody else's show, which is why I have such an interest in having my own platform. There's stuff there's thoughts that have to be fleshed out. And I'm like, I can't flesh it out in a 30-second soundbite, especially when somebody's doing all that yapping and yelling. And it did throw me off a little bit. I didn't enjoy it that much. Let's see here. Dr. Watkins should have had the most airtime. Yeah, well, it is what it is. I'm not gonna sit and pretend like I'm better than anybody, but some of the stuff I heard was like, really? Did you say that? Banks, at least in the traditional sense, are relatively soon to be obsolete due to crypto, possibly. Learn what to do and what not to do. Black liberation is a team sport. Yes, it is. The look on your face told it all. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit annoyed. I was like, would you stop yelling? Like, what is wrong with you? I don't know. She seemed like she had a beef with the banker guy. I don't know what their background is, but she literally, out of the gate, was going after him. And I was like, what is this? How do you feel about XRP moving forward? Did XRP go up today or something? Is that what you're asking about? Or are you asking just how do I feel about XRP in general? I like XRP because I think that XRP is they have a great business model and it's done really well. So, I was fighting with them on Fox Soul to let them explain your thoughts. Yeah, I couldn't. I it is what it is. The uncomfortable smile. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that lady. I don't know who she is. I'm not trying to attack or anything, but my God, it was just like, please stop. Like, stop it. Just shut up. Yeah, I didn't understand why are we arguing about the racial wealth gap? Like, we know it's there. Just give your opinion and let other people talk. Like, why are you letting? Like, why are you fighting? I don't understand. She said you were flat out lying about Jeff Bezos. Yeah, that was the idea that Jeff Bezos and Amazon have zero debt is borderline ridiculous. I didn't even know how much debt they had. I just Googled it. They have $25 billion worth of debt. So for her to say that they did it all with no debt was like the craziest thing I've ever heard. I've never heard somebody say something like that. The Amazon is worth over $1 trillion. I don't think there's ever been $1 trillion company built with no debt. I'm not sure, but I don't even think there are that many $1 trillion companies to begin with. I think Apple, Amazon, and maybe Microsoft, they all got debt. So, are you kidding me right now? Like, did you really say that? What made you go on this show? I like Tammy Mack. They're very respectable. it was just like, okay, sure, why not? It's Fox Soul. I respect the platform. I just think that they could. I really think that I could help them find some better experts. I feel like, I'm not gonna talk bad about anybody, but y'all can read my mind. If you've been watching me enough, you know what I'm thinking. Amazon and Apple are the only $1 trillion companies. Really? I thought Microsoft was over. I thought Microsoft hit the $1 trillion mark. Let me see. Let's see. $1 trillion companies. Let's see. Amazon, Microsoft, Saudi Aramco, and Alphabet, Google's parent company. So Google hit, all of them hit $1 trillion in the last 2 years. Amazon passed $1 trillion in September 4th, 2018. Microsoft hit the $1 trillion mark June 7th, 2019. Saudi Aramco hit $1 trillion December 11, 2019. And Alphabet, Google's parent company, hit $1 trillion on January 16, 2020. So there apparently are four $1 trillion companies. I'm going to write Tammy Mack and tell her she needs to collaborate. Well, don't make it a diss. I don't want to make them feel bad. I ain't gonna lie. That lady, when she wouldn't shut up, I was like, would you please stop? Just stop it. Like, be quiet. Like, learn to listen. I swear, like that is like a pet peeve of mine. Somebody who does not know how to stop talking and listen. Anybody who's like that, they're kind of a bully. Like, it's like a bullyish. And the thing is that we think women can be bullies, but some women that just don't shut the fuck up are bullies. Like, they think that I'm gonna be a strong black woman. I'm gonna go and yell over everybody and scream and holler and go berserk. No, you're being an asshole. Like that. That's not. There's nothing strong about that. Strong women know how to be quiet and listen and respect the opinions of others. They don't feel like they got to go and put their balls on the table and yell and scream at everybody. Seriously, like that's tacky. It's irritating. Like, people don't like that shit. So anyway, let me be quiet. Let me stop. See, now y'all done got me in trouble. Got me in here talking. Now this poor lady, it might get back to her, and she's gonna think I'm dissing. I'm not dissing. I'm just saying, be more polite. Like, make your point. and then let other people make their point. And how about this? How about instead of fighting, why can't we just both have a perspective that deserves respect? That's it. Just, okay, give me your point of view. I'm gonna give you mine. I ain't gotta agree with you. You ain't gotta agree with me. But I'm gonna share what I gotta share. You share what you gotta share. That's how you have a good conversation. All right. The sinister intonation of buy black, only black, bank black. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that buying black is very important. It's people in general, too many people loud and wrong. Yeah, the wrongest people are the loudest ones. She was listening to respond, not to understand. That's true. Boy, you're a heavyweight of economics. I know a few things, but I can always learn more. I'm just trying to get smarter. Oh, better at this. Can you expand on your reaction as the only panelist seeing crypto's upside? Yeah, I thought that was wrong. I really do. I think crypto. I didn't. I don't think you should leverage your whole future on crypto, but I really think you want to be there when it happens. The experts are doing this. I was very surprised that no one else saw any value in crypto, and I think that part of it might be, honestly, when crypto first came out, when Bitcoin was really getting talked about, and it was really more so 2016, 2017. I read an entire book about crypto and blockchain and everything else. I meditated on it. I looked up the history of money to really think about, like, what is money? What is currency anyway? How do you create money? Like, what does that mean? And I concluded that Bitcoin was as real as fiat currency. Every bit is real. And the difference comes down to belief. Who believes in it? If you believe in it, it becomes real. If you don't believe in it, then it doesn't exist, right? So when I started seeing more people believing in Bitcoin, that's what got my attention. So you started seeing major fund managers, millions of investors. You started seeing a lot of these exchanges starting to offer crypto for speculative purposes, and they also started offering crypto for transactional purposes. PayPal is now going to allow you to make transactions with Bitcoin. That to me is very big, because the more you use something, the more real it becomes. Bitcoin's becoming more and more real, and it is a commodity that is of limited supply. So the more real it becomes, the more demand that will occur. And when you have a higher demand with a fixed supply of a commodity, then you automatically naturally see an increase in price. So I don't know for sure. I could be wrong. That's why I didn't put all my money into Bitcoin. If I knew I was going to be 100% right, I'd put 100% of my money in Bitcoin, because the projections that they're talking about for Bitcoin are insane. Like, they're literally saying 20,000 will be the level where you'll look back and say, damn, I can't believe I could have bought that for 20,000. Like they're literally talking about Bitcoin going to 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. I don't believe it, and until I heard some experts talk about it, and I said, I think that there's something here. So I wouldn't have put, I see you said 15% of my portfolio in Bitcoin. I'm not that aggressive. I'm more like 8%, but I want to be in there. I want to be in the mix. I don't want to be sitting there mad because it done took off and I missed the whole thing. I don't want to miss the ride. Let's see here. We got Bitcoin ATM machines at our gas stations in the Southwest. Interesting. Black bank racist? Nah, it's not racist. We need more black banks. You really think they can't make more? Well, they are mining more, but there is a limit, a lifetime limit they claim of 21 billion or 21 million Bitcoins or something like that. But you never know. They can always change the rules, right? Just like they're printing more money as we speak. Charles H. Cook, are you interested in making money right now? What are you doing, Kimberly? What is this? Are you selling something? Don't be selling stuff on my platform. I'm gonna have to block you, girl. Don't be in here spamming nobody. Let's see here. $400 is a decent start for options. Yeah, you can do options for $400. What Bitcoins are good investments? There's a lot. My favorites are, I like Bitcoin. I also like XRP, Ripple. I have a few others. I just don't remember what all of them are, honestly. I bought them. I talked to some experts. They made some recommendations. I said, okay, I'll buy a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And now I got a bunch of stuff. So every now and then I'll check. And it's been going up a lot lately, but investing doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like quickly and overnight. Okay, Kimberly, what are you doing? I think Kimberly might be a spammer. So Kimberly, James, you got to go. I'm sorry. All right, so she's out of there. Where do you buy your Bitcoin? I use Coinbase, and but you can buy Bitcoin on Cash App. You can buy Bitcoin on Robinhood. You can buy Bitcoin on a lot of exchanges. Let's see here. No way to print more. There are preset blocks in Bitcoin. Okay, thank you, the real Dub. I appreciate that information. Are there crypto ETFs? I think that there are. I don't know what they're called, but I think that there are. I made money this year on Urban One and Twitter. Good for you. Good for you. Is $1,000 enough for Bitcoin? Yeah, you can buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. You don't have to spend $20,000 to get a coin. The best advice for a 20-year-old black man: learn how to start a business and work hard, be a good person, and don't follow the crowd because the crowd is stupid. Let's see. Do you think travel and hospitality stocks will surpass their 52-week high? Yes, I do. I think these stocks are going to take off and blow up after COVID is over. You're going to see a lot of these what they call recovery stocks really start to blow up. So it's going to be real interesting when that happens. There's no way to send Bitcoin on Robinhood. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, who's this Kimberly James lady? She keeps on spamming the comment section. I got to get you out of here. I keep blocking her, but she keeps coming back. Who is she? Who is Kimberly James? Because I know she's not a real person. Look at that. Look at that comment. What is that shit? What is that crap? Get off of my screen. Anyway, let me go back. I'm taking notes. Okay, good. Yeah. Actually, if you want some stuff that can help you, if you have kids and you want your kids to learn about wealth, we have a program for kids at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. And also there's the text number. You can text boys to 31996. I'll text you guys periodically, a couple times a week, let you know when we're live, stuff like that. And then also, if you want to, we got some other stuff going on. Firstsharestock.com. That's where you can actually go and get free information from the Black Business School and learn to buy your first share stock. So feel free to go there too. Can you give financial advice for Black couples that are soon to be engaged? Yeah. If you're talking about something formal, if you go to the blackloveblueprint.com, I have a whole curriculum on love and money. It's theblackloveblueprint.com. But also, if you want my advice, I think taking the time to really know what you're walking into financially, in terms of what's in his or her wallet, what debt do they have that they're dealing with, also what's inside their head in terms of financial decisions. So, for example, with Alicia is much more conservative than me. Like she grew up in I grew up in poverty. She grew up in extreme poverty. So she's very frugal when it comes to money. Like she really still thinks that we're poor. So what happens is that we have to talk about how money is spent and how the financial decisions are made. Because as an entrepreneur, I'm a little bit more of a gunslinger. I had to sling money around in order to make things happen. Whereas she's had a job her whole life. So her thinking financially is just different from mine, and it does require communication. Because that's what she wants, right? She wants me to give her a voice and to include her on financial decisions. But what she does in exchange is she allows me to take some of those risks and just lets me know that she's got my back, which I appreciate also. So it's a negotiation, right? It's really a matter of kind of having those conversations and making sure that you understand what page the other person's on so that you don't end up with any confusion, things like that. What's in my wallet? Nothing right now. It's probably empty. Let me see here. No sense of unity and a plan is what's stopping us from building wealth in Black America. Yeah, but I think that you can make a plan on your own and with your family. I kind of don't really get into the whole fairy tale of 40 million crazy Black people getting together on the same page and doing the same thing at the same time. There's just too many different types of people out here. It's too much. I ain't gonna lie. Like sometimes, and maybe it's just from where I'm standing, because I get approached by so many different people, so many great people, so many wonderful people that are very positive. But then you got crazy people out here that just want to destroy. They just want to destroy everything. And so, so really, it's like you're not going to get everybody on the same page, but you can get certain people on the same page. Like us right here, right now, we're talking in the middle of the night together because we're on the same page. So I focus on the people that are on the same page, and that's just what it is. Have you heard of an investment app called Fundraise? Is it a scam? I don't know about Fundraise. I've heard of Fundrise. I haven't heard of it being a scam. When's the next Black Business School special or sale? We just had one on the Black Wealth Bootcamp. Actually, the Black Wealth Bootcamp is still on an early bird discount if you want to join. We start classes on January 7th. The Black Wealth Bootcamp is really good for anybody that wants to reduce their economic dependence on the corporate plantation. So that means if you want to either quit your job or you want to keep your job and just know what financial security looks like for you and how to position yourself properly in that way, then feel free to go to blackwealthbootcamp.com and take a look. It's a really good program. It's very popular. People love it. Early comment on cash being debt. I don't think cash is debt. I don't think cash is debt. I don't know what. I'm sorry. I wish I knew what you meant. But I don't know, Kemp. I apologize. I don't think cash is debt. But you're talking about credit being debt. Yeah. I didn't understand. I ain't gonna lie. When she said, they don't need debt, they need credit, or they didn't have debt, they got credit, and I was like, what's the difference between credit and debt exactly? Are you talking about a credit score? Because she was talking about Amazon or something and saying that they didn't have debt, they had credit. I'm like, what? And she said, if you have a CFO who has a good credit score, I'm like, so you're telling me that Amazon was funded because the CFO had a good credit score? Amazon's $1 trillion company. What are you talking about? Like, I didn't, that part threw me off a little bit. I mean, I'm sure there's maybe a technical variation. I mean, right, you talk about credit, you're talking about credit score, credit worthiness, etc. But if I have credit, then that's very deeply connected to debt. The only thing I can think of is maybe like a line of credit, right? So if I have a line of credit, it's an option to take debt if I want to, right? So that's the only distinction I can think of. And I don't think that's what she meant. I thought, I was confused. I was like, what? I don't understand. So, and just the whole debt conversation was like, I'm in the twilight zone right now. Like, you're really sitting here trying to tell me that debt is always a bad thing. Are you? My head's about to explode right now, because debt it's just economic. It's leverage. It's powerful. Do you know? Check this out. Did you guys know if they were to ban debt in the United States, do you know that the whole economy would totally crash? If they were to ban debt right now, the whole economy would crash. Your kids couldn't go to college. The value of your home would plummet. You would lose your job. The whole economy, your stocks would drop 80%. Like, if they ban debt, the whole economy would die. So debt is not always a bad thing. Debt can open some doors. Debt is I call it a financial time machine. It's a financial accelerator. And what do I mean by that? So let's say that you have a business idea that can go where you can, in a year make a $250,000 off this business idea because it's such a good idea. But you need $30,000 in order to get the business started. So you got two choices. You can either get a loan for $30,000 if you're lucky enough, you have good credit or access to capital, right? Or you can wait and save $30,000 to start that business. Well, it might take you 2 years, 3 years to save 30 grand, right? But if you get debt, then you can get the money now and then go ahead and get started now. So debt is a time machine to some extent. It can be an accelerator to allow you to do things now that you normally would have had to wait for. And so I think that that's powerful because time is something you can't get back. That's what I talk about with student loan debt. I say, if you got a bunch of debt and your income isn't that high and it's going to take you forever to pay that debt off, there's nothing wrong. I'm not telling you what to do, but there's nothing wrong with leaving the debt on the books and taking your money and finding a way to generate another stream of income and then dealing with the debt later. Like, come back and deal with the debt later. Or you could just go work for that white man for the next 40 years and then maybe you'll pay the debt off before you're dead. But that's not a great way to live life. At least that was my decision. My thought was, when I started my business, I had student loan debt on the books. It was a lot. It was a ton of student loan debt. But I was like, I'm not paying this stuff now. I'm going to go live my life and I'll come back to you later. I'll come deal with you later. So there was a long period of time where I did not have a good credit score. I did not care. I had cash. I had everything I needed. I was able to buy everything I needed with cash because I figured out a way to get cash flow. Cash flow is better than debt almost any day of the week, right? So, later on when I decided, I was like, okay, I got some money now. Let me go back and fix my credit. So I did. I talked to the creditors. I paid them off, got them off the credit report, and the score went up. And I had that again. But even then, I still don't really even use it because I don't need it now, right? So what I'm saying is that, and this is what I think the Black Business School does it really well. We do this better than anybody else in the world, is because I have a PhD in this stuff. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a freaking stockbroker. I'm not a guy who read a couple of books, who read a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad and thinks he's an expert now, or who bought a couple stocks and made money. I'm a financial scientist who trains financial experts. I have thought about these ideas on a level that you would not believe. I've had to go and do the complex mathematics that underlies all these equations. I didn't just learn the equations. We had to learn how to derive and manipulate the equations in order to make them into what we needed them to be. So I make this point to say that the best thing the Black Business School does, in my opinion, is we are able to recalibrate existing financial models so that they are perfectly suited to the experience of Black people in America. We're able to really take something that's standard, right? Like a financial advisor would just spit out some theory or spit out a bunch of, instructions. And I know where those instructions come from. So I can go in and say, actually, you could take this out and put this in instead, right? And that actually allows for a more creative solution, because in order for you to solve your financial problem, if you're Black in this country, you're gonna have to be real creative. You can't do just something that you're gonna find in a textbook. You can't just do what white people are gonna do. You have to, because you don't have the same thing that they have to work with. You don't have the same environment. You have more volatility. You have more. You don't have the same degree of fertile economic soil. You have a different culture that you're trying to fight through. You have a different opportunity set. You have a different skill set, right? So what I'll just say to you is, I think when you're Black, the people that win when they're Black are the people that break the rules. I think the people that follow the rules end up losing. I'm not a rule follower. I've always broken rules, and that's been my greatest asset in all of this. So I'm just telling you, think about the rules and figure out whether they make sense. And if they don't make sense, then you break the damn rule. You got it? Okay. So what I think about energy stocks, I don't know if you're thinking about like I don't like energy stocks, Carlos. I don't like, especially oil companies and all that. Like I used to like Exxon because I thought they were a well-run company, but I don't feel like there's a strong future in fossil fuels and all that stuff. I like green energy, new energy, electric this and hydrogen that. Like I'm into that type of stuff. I'm not really into coal and gas. All right. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I got to go to bed, but it was fun talking to you guys, and I hope that what something that I said helped you. And thanks for sitting with me through my frustration. If you want to know if I was frustrated during that interview, I really was. That's why I don't go on a lot of shows. I don't like big panels, and especially when you got people that do the most talking that have the least understanding of what the hell's going on. That literally is a pet peeve of mine. I believe everybody has a right to have an opinion, but shit, I mean, God, like, must you yell over everybody? Like that's like be a decent person, man. My God. All right. Anyway, what do I think about Dave Ramsey? I like him. I think he's cool. I think Dave Ramsey's smart, and he has firm beliefs that go beyond just the money. A lot of money is about the accumulation of wealth is about culture, and also your style of money is deeply connected to who you are as a person, what community you come from, what sort of core values your family has. So Dave Ramsey is a guy who infuses his value system into the way he views things like debt, things like business and saving and investing and all that. And so I like that. I tend to like that. Me and Dave have a lot in common. We're different though. He's a southern white man. I'm a southern Black man. And I have a different purpose than he has. So that's what it is. All right, guys. So I'm about to go to bed. So hit the thumbs up button if you could before you go. If you could share this video, I'd appreciate it. And there you go. There's the URL for the Black Wealth Bootcamp if you guys want to join us. We start January 7th. And up until next week, you can get 30% off if you want to join with the early bird discount. So have a good night. And what about body part harvesting stock? Okay, see, now you're being funny, Herc. I'll see y'all later. Take care. Be good. Peace.